Alex adjusted the controls of the research station with careful precision, his eyes flicking from one monitor to another. The station orbited a pale green planet, a world full of strange gases and floating storms, and the humans and aliens working here shared a fragile harmony. For Alex, life was mostly predictable: fix the machines, check the readings, report to the supervisors, and try not to think too much about the enormous alien creatures walking the corridors. Today, however, was different. A new researcher had arrived, a tall alien with shimmering blue skin that seemed to glow faintly under the station lights. She moved with an elegance that made Alex's heart race, though he cursed himself for noticing. Her eyes, large and reflective like liquid sapphires, seemed to look right through him. She smiled politely at the others, but when her gaze landed on him, it was almost as if she could see into his mind. Alex quickly looked away, pretending to focus on his console, but he could feel the heat creeping up his neck. He had dealt with strange aliens before, but there was something different about this one. Something that made him feel both nervous and strangely exposed. Alex, is it? The voice was melodic, calm, and carried a musical quality. He nearly jumped. The alien had approached quietly, and he hadn't even heard her footsteps. Yes, Alex Miller, he said, trying to sound confident. His voice wavered slightly, but he hoped she wouldn't notice. I'm Leora, she said, her smile softening. I'll be joining the research team here. I hear you are the one who keeps the station running. Alex cleared his throat. Yes, I make sure nothing explodes. He forced a grin, but he felt awkward. Talking to someone who looked like they could see his every thought was not easy. Leora's smile widened, almost teasing. Nothing explodes because of you, then? She asked, tilting her head. Alex froze. Why do I feel like she already knows the answer? He thought. His mind flashed with a dozen embarrassing thoughts, like how he sometimes daydreamed about being heroic in impossible ways, or how he occasionally imagined winning the attention of someone like her. To his shock, Leora laughed softly, a sound that was both musical and comforting. You don't have to hide it, she said. I like honesty even when it's messy. Alex's eyes widened. What do you mean? She shrugged, still smiling. I think I understand more than you think. You don't need to be careful with me. I see your thoughts. Alex nearly choked. See my what? I see your thoughts, she repeated calmly. The private ones. The ones you think no one else can know. Alex's mind raced. She can read my thoughts? How is that possible? What if she thinks? His cheeks burned. He had thought all sorts of things in private, silly and sometimes rude thoughts. Now somehow she knew. Instead of looking shocked or disgusted, Leora only smiled. Relax, I enjoy knowing what people really think. It's interesting, Alex swallowed hard. He wasn't sure whether to be relieved or terrified. Part of him wanted to run, but another part was fascinated. Somehow, despite the strangeness, he felt drawn to her. Interesting how? He asked cautiously. Because it's honest, she said. Most people hide behind masks, even here in space. But your thoughts, they are genuine, even if a little chaotic. Alex wasn't sure if he should be flattered or embarrassed. Genuine, chaotic. Yes, that sounds about right, he thought grimly. Over the next few days, Alex tried to keep his thoughts in check, but it was useless. Leora seemed to respond to every idea that crossed his mind. When he worried about a malfunction in the life support system, she appeared beside him before he even spoke. When he imagined how funny it would be if a robot delivered tea to the aliens instead of humans, she laughed quietly from across the room. It was unnerving, but strangely comforting. He realized that with Leora he didn't have to pretend. She accepted him exactly as he was, even the thoughts he had been too embarrassed to share. One evening, while Alex was repairing a malfunctioning sensor, he muttered under his breath about how he wished he had someone to talk to who could actually understand him. I heard that, Leora said from the doorway. Leaning casually against the frame, Alex froze. You heard that? I didn't just hear it. I knew it, she said, smiling softly. And I'm glad you said it. Alex felt his face heat up. He wanted to look away, but her eyes held him in place. It's hard to explain. You don't need to explain, Leora said. I already know. That's the point. For the first time in months, Alex felt a strange sense of relief. He didn't have to hide. He didn't have to pretend. Even his messy, chaotic thoughts could exist openly, and someone would still see him as enough. Their connection deepened when a crisis struck the station. A sudden surge in the planet's magnetosphere caused the station's systems to fluctuate dangerously. Alarms blared, red lights flashed, and every researcher rushed to their stations. Alex worked frantically, trying to stabilize the sensors, reroute power, and prevent catastrophic failure. Leora moved beside him, her calm presence almost magical. "You'll need to adjust the auxiliary circuits before the main conduit overheats," she said, without touching any controls. "Follow my instructions and we can stabilize it together." Alex blinked. How did you— "Just trust me," she said, smiling. "I know what you're thinking, and I know what you'll do next." It was surreal. Together, they moved in perfect coordination, almost as if they were connected on some invisible level. Alex realized that her ability to read his thoughts wasn't just a strange trick. It was a tool, a way for them to work as one. By the time the crisis passed, the station was safe. Alex was exhausted, sweat running down his face, but he couldn't stop looking at Leora. She seemed completely unharmed, almost serene, as if the chaos had barely touched her. "Thanks," Alex said quietly. "I couldn't have done it without you." "You did it," she replied softly. "I just helped you see what you already knew. You're braver than you give yourself credit for." Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. For the first time, he felt truly seen. Not just his abilities, but all of him, messy thoughts included. Over the next few days, Alex found himself thinking differently. He didn't worry as much about hiding his thoughts. He discovered that Leora would tease him gently, laugh at his inner jokes, and even encourage his more imaginative ideas. It was like having someone inside his mind, but not in a scary way, in a way that made him feel understood. One evening, as the station orbited the pale green planet, Alex and Leora worked late on recalibrating a navigation array. The hum of the station was steady, comforting, and Alex finally dared to ask the question that had been on his mind for days. "Why me?" he asked. "Oh, why do you care about my thoughts? Most people would think it's weird, or worse, judge me." Leora paused, her eyes reflecting the soft lights of the control panels. "Because it's rare," she said. "It's rare to find someone whose thoughts are honest, unfiltered, and real. Even humans hide too much. But you're genuine, Alex, and I like genuine." Alex's chest tightened. He didn't know if he should feel embarrassed, proud, or hopeful. "So you're not disgusted?" She laughed softly. "Not at all. I find it interesting, funny, sometimes even charming." Alex swallowed hard, a small smile forming. For the first time, he felt that maybe, just maybe, he could be himself entirely. Messy thoughts, awkwardness, and all, and someone would still see value in him. That night, as he lay in his quarters staring out at the swirling green storms of the planet below, he realized something profound. He had spent so much of his life hiding behind careful words and polite behavior, always afraid of judgment. But Leora had changed that. She didn't just see him, she understood him, and the thought that made him blush even in the darkness was this: he hoped she liked him not just for his mind, but for everything he was, even the parts he had always thought were unworthy. He didn't know what the future held. He didn't know how their connection would grow, or what challenges they would face. But for the first time in a long while, Alex felt a spark of hope, a sense that maybe, in the vastness of space, he had found someone who truly understood him. And somewhere deep down, he knew that their story was just beginning. The station was quieter than usual. Most researchers had gone to their quarters after the recent crisis, but Alex and Leora remained, checking the final systems and ensuring nothing was left unstable. The hum of machinery filled the corridors, but there was a new tension in the air, one that made Alex feel both excited and nervous. He stole a glance at Leora as she adjusted a sensor, her fingers moving with precision and confidence. Her eyes caught his, and for a moment, the world seemed to shrink around them. He wanted to speak, to say something meaningful, but words felt small compared to the connection they shared. Instead, he focused on the panels, pretending to work, even though his mind raced with unspoken thoughts. "You've been thinking," Leora said softly, her voice carrying through the quiet room. Alex froze. I guess I have," he admitted. "I know," she said with a small smile. "And it's not just work-related. I can tell when your thoughts wander to other, interesting things. Alex's cheeks burned, but he couldn't look away. He had grown used to Leora knowing his private thoughts, but hearing her talk about it still made him nervous. Yet it was strangely comforting. She didn't judge him, and somehow that made it easier to be honest. I can't help it, he said quietly. I think too much. I imagine things, sometimes things I shouldn't even think about. I like it, she said simply, all of it. You don't have to hide with me, Alex. I enjoy knowing what's really inside your mind. The words made his chest tighten. No one had ever said that before, not in a way that felt genuine. He wanted to tell her how he felt, but the timing never seemed right. Their moment of quiet was broken by a sudden alarm. Red lights flashed across the control panels, and the familiar hum of the station grew louder, signaling an unexpected energy surge. Alex's heart skipped a beat. What now? He muttered. Leora's expression was calm but focused. Something's interfering with the station's systems. It's not a natural surge. Someone, or something, is here. Alex's mind raced. Intruders? Sabotage? How could anyone get here without being detected? Follow my lead, Leora said, her voice steady. We'll handle it together. For the next several minutes, they moved in perfect coordination. Alex monitored the systems while Leora anticipated his actions, guiding him to fix critical circuits before they overloaded. It was as if they shared one mind, one set of instincts. Alex realized just how much he trusted her, not just because of her abilities, but because she understood him completely. When the alarms finally ceased, the station stabilized. But the sense of danger lingered. Leora and Alex exchanged a look. That spoke volumes. They both knew this was only the beginning. Over the following days, strange incidents became more frequent. Small systems went offline, messages were scrambled, and equipment malfunctioned for no apparent reason. Alex and Leora stayed close, working together to identify the source. Each time they faced a problem, their unusual connection made them faster, sharper, and more intuitive than anyone else on the station. During a quiet moment, Alex asked, "Do you think it's aliens? Or some rogue humans?" Leora shook her head. "I don't know, but whatever it is, it's clever, and it's watching us." Alex swallowed. Watching us? The thought made him nervous, but he felt a strange thrill too. He wasn't afraid, not with Leora by his side. That night, after long hours of work, they finally took a break. They sat in the observation lounge, looking out at the swirling storms of the planet below. The green and white clouds shifted like waves in a sea of gas, beautiful and dangerous at the same time. "You're tired," Leora said softly, watching him carefully. "I am," Alex admitted. "But I can't stop thinking about everything. About you. About what's happening. I feel responsible." "You're not alone," she said. "We're in this together. And don't forget, you're braver than you think." Alex wanted to tell her how much he admired her, not just for her intelligence or grace, but for the way she accepted him entirely, for the way she made him feel understood. But words seemed small compared to the intensity of his thoughts. He sighed and leaned back, staring at the stars. Leora moved closer and sat beside him. He could feel her presence, calm and steady, and he realized he no longer wanted to hide anything. "Leora, I like you," he said, finally voicing the thought that had been with him for days. She smiled softly. "I know," she said. "I've known for a while, and I like you too." Alex felt a rush of relief and happiness. Finally, someone not only understood him but liked him, everything he was, inside and out. Their moment was interrupted by another alarm, this one louder, more urgent. A small fleet of alien ships had entered the station's orbit, sending pulses that disrupted communications and sensors. Alex's heart raced, but Leora stood, her posture confident and commanding. "We need to act," she said. "Follow me." They moved through the station with precision, avoiding detection as the intruders scanned the area. Alex couldn't believe how instinctively they worked together. He thought, left, then stabilize the conduit, then override the security locks. Leora acted before he even spoke, perfectly in sync with his plan. Finally, they reached the main control hub. Alex took a deep breath. We can lock them out of the station's systems if we reroute power through the auxiliary nodes. I know, Leora said calmly. Do it. Working together, they diverted the power, confusing the alien fleet and sending false signals. The intruders grew frustrated, unable to breach the station's defenses. Alex watched as Leora's hands moved with skill and precision, anticipating his every move. When the threat finally receded, the station was safe once again. Alex slumped against a console, exhausted but exhilarated. Leora stood beside him, her eyes reflecting the soft lights of the control panels. You did well, she said softly. We did well. Alex smiled, a mix of relief and admiration in his expression. Yeah, we did. I couldn't have done it without you. You could have, she replied. But together, we're stronger. Over the next few days, the station returned to normal operations, but the bond between Alex and Leora had grown stronger. They shared quiet moments, subtle glances, and playful teasing, small signs that went beyond words. Alex realized he didn't just admire her intellect or her abilities. He admired her entirely, the way she accepted him, understood him, and even found joy in his messy, chaotic thoughts. One evening, as they calibrated a sensor array together, Alex finally spoke the thought that had been in his mind since the day she arrived. Leora, I feel like I can tell you anything, even the things I've always been too embarrassed to say. She looked at him, her expression soft and gentle. You can, and I want to know. I like knowing all of it, Alex. Your thoughts, your feelings, even the ones you think are silly. Alex felt a warmth in his chest he had never experienced before. It wasn't just attraction or admiration. It was trust, acceptance, and something deeper. He realized that in this vast, dangerous place, he had found someone who truly saw him, without judgment, without hesitation. The days passed, and their partnership became seamless. Alex and Leora worked together, laughed together, and faced challenges side by side. Every crisis, every moment of uncertainty only strengthened their bond. And with every shared glance, every understanding smile, Alex knew that he had found someone extraordinary, not just because of her abilities, but because of the way she embraced him entirely. One night, after the station had settled into a rare quiet, Alex and Leora stood together in the observation lounge. The green planet below shimmered in the light of distant stars. Alex turned to her, his heart pounding. Leora, whatever happens from now on, I want you to know, I trust you, completely. She smiled, a gentle, radiant expression that made his chest tighten. And I trust you, Alex, completely. You've shown me courage, honesty, and heart. I'm glad I can be here with you. For the first time, Alex felt completely at peace. He realized that it didn't matter what dangers awaited them in the galaxy, what challenges they would face, or what thoughts ran through his head. With Leora by his side, he had found someone who not only understood him, but valued him for everything he was. And in the vast silence of space, amid the hum of the station and the glow of the green planet below, Alex and Leora shared a quiet smile, an unspoken promise that whatever the future held, they would face it together, as partners, friends, and perhaps something more. The station orbited on, quiet but alive, and for the first time Alex felt that he belonged, not just in the station, not just on the planet, but with someone who could truly see him, all his thoughts and all his heart. And somewhere deep down, he knew that their story was only just beginning.